Hey everybody, it's Shelly Hoffman, and I'm excited today because I have Brian May. If you don't know Brian May, he's the District 1 legislator and majority leader here for Onondaga County. And for some reason, Brian and I have that crackling noise again, but we're going to work through it. Brian, you're here to talk about a couple things with us. The one thing I don't know a lot about, and I was hoping to learn, is the STEAM School program. What is that?
So it's actually a really interesting concept, sort of a national trend, if you will, in education. It's a specialized school that addresses a very specific variety of academic interests, curriculums of learning, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Specialized education tracks for students that across the county will be eligible to partake in. And these are kids who are maybe gifted in those areas, or maybe even inclined to just enter the workforce right after high school. So it's actually a pretty cool concept that in today's education climate, economic climate, it's a really good idea. It's very successful elsewhere. And, honestly, I really liked the project from day one.
Nice. So I guess I know a little bit about it because I have a daughter that's really into the arts. So now that you explained it, but now is this for the city school or is this for all of Onondaga County?
So it's all of Onondaga County. In fact, the support for it is so broad that almost every district in the county has expressed written formal support from their school boards in undertaking this project, as did an overwhelming number of the area's larger employers like your SRCs and those types. Those are in the technology and sciences arena, who have again expressed in writing their support of the county taking on its role in this process for area residents. It's going to be the building itself is going to be located downtown in the old Central Tech building. So that'll be totally renovated. Budget is about $74 million to make it happen.
Okay. Is that some of our tax money also helping towards that? You said businesses, but.
Yeah, well, it's always tax money, right? No matter where it comes from. But, I'm going to be very territorial and make sure that county tax dollars are protected. And that means the dollars that you and I pay for property taxes and the dollars that you and I pay for in sales tax. That money comes back to this community. We use that money to run county government, and none of those dollars will be used. So the state, the school aid funding formula for New York State will actually fund the project. Onondaga County, our role in this is to actually do the borrowing, because one, we have the capacity to do so. That was the first thing that came up when the concept was presented to us is, why are you talking to us? One, we're not educators. Two, we're not a school district. Why us? Well, because all the area school districts are eligible for this project or to participate in the school, it doesn't make total sense for one district to bear the burden, although this will be part of the city school district. For that reason, the city came to us and said, hey, would you be willing to do this? And, it will be, all of the debt service will be covered through state aid. And, Ryan McMahon and the county, my colleagues on the ledge, and I made really sure that formula, that strategy financially is bulletproof. So we won't be spending any county dollars on this per se, but we will be using our borrowing capacity. We have a constitutional debt limit that's here, and we're way down here in terms of what we borrow and keep on the books as far as debt service. The city's up here, so they can't borrow for it. But again, there's a need to move on this, and it's especially on the engineering and sciences side. There's a real demand from these area employers to have students coming out of high school with certain sets of skills, because again, it's some kids, not every kid is suited for college or wants to go to college, here's a way for them to become very productive members of our local economy with a skill set that is, um, um, on task and on trend with today's needs. I'm talking about like drone technologies, things like that, servicing drones, that kind of stuff. It's a really neat concept.
Okay. At the risk of sounding naive, it's connected, like you said, to the city schools, but it's going to benefit the other one. So here in Baldwinsville, where I am, what's a direct benefit to the Beeville School District? Would someone come out to the school? Would the kids be able to go to the
Yeah,
building? How
they'll
does that
just
work?
like they would go to you know how kids are bused to private schools in the area. Same deal. They would be bused to that school, just like they're bused to BOCES. They would actually matriculate into that school. It wouldn't be, courses or a set of courses. It would be that's where they go to school. And the benefit to the Baldwinsville School District from a business standpoint is obviously these are curriculums that they don't necessarily have to take on, which amounts to expense. It amounts to space and facilities. Beeville is challenged by space and facilities for certain programs. This allows them to support the education needs associated with those programs without necessarily taking on the burden. And it also creates probably a stronger community of students with like and similar interests, which I think is a good thing too.
What's the time frame for this project?
Well, it was approved um, in February. I think they're in design now. I'm going to say it's going to be at least a year and a half before they can move. It's a big project. That school, that building, which has, as I understand it, great bones. It needs a lot of work to make it happen, but it'll be a nice little, anchor or marquee location in downtown, and we need those. We need those too.
Yeah. Nice. So well, I look forward to that. Maybe you can give us another update as it gets closer to it. Anything else you want to move on? Because I wanted to ask you about the Main Street grant project as well.
Yeah, well, I guess before we move on from the school conversation, I have to, in full disclosure, even though I was probably one of the earliest supporters of the project and the concept, I voted against it. And yeah, I voted against it. I had to. It was, again, I love the concept. I never feel the deadline pressure of anything that is a kind of a nice to do sort of project. And I just felt when this came to the legislature, Shelley, the timing was inappropriate. We have and still have other things that are really serious considerations or priorities in county government that involve, services to the residents who live here, that involve running the business of county government itself. Frankly, county government at the time was pretty uncertain as to what our shortfall is going to be for the year in terms of funding, state aid, federal aid, that sort of thing. Yeah. And I mean, anywhere from $60 to $120 million shortage is not out of the realm of possibility. Those are staggering numbers just for our county government. So we're looking at potential job cuts. We have made job cuts with part-time and contractual employees already, all kinds of austerity. I wasn't ready to bond for a $74 million project at that time. Even though the financial model was bulletproof, the folks that have been planning this have done a wonderful job. I couldn't vote for it when we were asked to vote for it. The folks that did, no criticisms whatsoever, ever, on how people vote, but they did it because on the basis of progress. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to see our city moving forward, see our region moving forward, do something front running with education. That's exciting. And it certainly is. I'm just a little bit more of a pragmatist. And I would have much rather waited till the spring or later this fall even to talk about the project.
Well, so I'm that person that, timing is everything, and the timing wasn't right for you, but I'm kind of excited for it. The
Oh,
one question I didn't ask, but since you're talking about the money deficit, is just, has COVID hit that at all? What's going on with COVID?
yeah, it's I had the I don't know if I should say this publicly. I had the opportunity to sit in on and I really, I have, Ryan McMahon has worked really hard on the COVID process, and I have a lot of respect for the effort he's given it, as well as the effort of his entire, management team, and how everyone has kind of repurposed their jobs to combat this. And even I, as close as I've been to the situation through county government, really, and of course through my day-to-day business and my professional life, gained a whole newfound respect for what these guys are doing. When I had the opportunity yesterday to sit in on it's called a control room conversation. The counties across the United States or across the state are broken down into regions. Each region has a control room. The governor's representatives, very high level representatives, are in the control room meeting with the county executives. And in this case, it was the county executives from our region, Central New York. Wow, was that entertaining. I want to tell you, and these are the things that no one knows and no one hears about. These folks are really swinging the bat for area businesses, swinging the bat for parents of students, swinging the bats of parents that need to work and need childcare. I listened to this yesterday. And I was like, holy cow. I cannot believe the tension, the tone, the tenor of the conversation. It wasn't pretty. Ryan, Ryan really went after him hard yesterday, and someone very high in the governor's administration actually hung up on him. And it was pretty cool because Ryan said what needed to be said, and they didn't have an answer, and they abruptly ended the conversation. And I thought that was fantastic. That's what our county executive is supposed to do for this area. That's what your government representatives are supposed to do and encourage. And, I always tell people that remind people that it's people making the decisions with respect to COVID, Shelley. And they can't forget that. Government isn't perfect. It's backed by people who are either elected or that's their job or whatever. But when I listened to this call with the folks from the state, I learned yesterday too that they're just people as well. And this is a hard situation for everyone to navigate. I spare my political views from any conversation like this, but politics make this whole situation that much worse. It's bad enough as it is, but politics make it even worse. And that's to me, that's pretty frustrating. And I saw it yesterday firsthand. It wasn't political. It's just there's so many machinations with any kind of decision being made. And, Ryan's pushing data, use our data, leverage it, get these businesses going again. We're losing business. People are losing jobs. They want to get back to work. They can't get back to work. He made a great case. And that was just, again, I have this job is a tremendous privilege. Having a chance to listen to that happen yesterday was yet another privilege and an opportunity to learn. You always want to learn, right? And it was just cool hearing these county executives go to bat for people that really need it. And again, kind of a newfound respect for the effort that they're giving this. Sorry to get us off track, but pretty interesting topic.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, it's good to hear that because we get caught up in what our needs are and how COVID and businesses and stuff affect us, and it's nice to know people are going to bat and aggravating people and and doing what needs to be done.
And it's interesting because our county is one of the bigger counties in the state, and we're among the larger counties in the state, and so we're more reliant on aid to run our business because we're mandated to run certain aspects of our business a certain way. So, there's only so much you can do before you put that aid and support at risk. So, Ryan's up there and you can't see me, but I'm pretending I'm on a tightrope right now, trying to, push. And then at the same time, stay on the right side so he doesn't jeopardize a really, sorely needed social service program that could considerably harm people if they didn't have it. So
yeah. And
again,
it's
sorry to
a
get us off
balance.
track.
How much can you that's okay. How much can you push and stuff? But if we could swing to the business, because I think I mentioned to you the Main Street Grant Program.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm one of the people, and I think it's a great program. Can you explain a little bit about it to people who don't know?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic program, and I'm glad we got that in before COVID really struck, because that might have changed, if it was a little bit later. This is an amazing program. The county has had a long tradition of supporting towns and villages through, community development grants, their village infrastructure, village improvement programs, green infrastructure programs, town infrastructure programs, just a lot of different ways. And some of it's formal, some of it's informal. In my tenure alone, just to give you a sense of what goes on, we've had millions of dollars just pour into this legislative district in the way of community development, infrastructure grants, things like that, county dollars devoted to town and village needs. And it's a true partnership. It's really good. Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff stays under the radar. One, because I'm a terrible self-promoter, but the other reason is because there's nothing sexy about sewer pipes and sidewalks and paving a street, right? There just isn't. So it's not something that's top of mind when you're talking about things, but it really matters to a town or village government when they have a product to deliver to their constituents as well, So this program, informally started 5 or 6 years ago when Ryan was still chair, and we did some town infrastructure programs and improved village infrastructure, things like that. Ryan kind of took it to the next level with the introduction of the Main Street program, which is what this is called, where we're dedicating through our budget specific dollars to help towns and villages with things that align with our needs as well. So that's how it came about. And it's to help with infrastructure, the beautification of the village, quality of life. The cool thing about this specific program is that there's an element of public-private partnership that, to me, makes it even more exciting. Goal is simple, to help provide the improvements I just mentioned. We're delving into a nice to do area. It's not essential, but man, is it nice to consider what we're going to accomplish with this. So I like it, and I guess, we got to give credit where credit's due too, Shelley. And that is that, this was a competitive process. Okay. County sponsored grant program, and villages needed to compete and submit proposals for this. And under, Dick Clark's great leadership, and, I talk about things being under the radar. A guy by the name of Steve D'Arcangelo, who works he's the village engineer. I've had exposure to engineers across the county, both in firms and then in the local municipalities. And, his work on this was absolutely second to none. He's one of the more knowledgeable guys in the region when it comes to things like this. And he put together a phenomenal proposal that not only improved the village and helped village government, but did a wonderful job helping 7 or 8 area businesses make some improvements to their buildings, their facades, to make those businesses a little more viable, make the improvements a little more, within reach of doing so because of the county support. And it's just going to make the Four Corner area in, entering and exiting the village just that much nicer. The proposal was fantastic. It was an easy decision, and the full award was about $300,000. The cool thing is that, everybody's got skin in the game. The village doesn't get the grant if it doesn't put in the 25% local match that it provides. So they have to, that's kind of like a level set, right? They have to be responsible in what they ask for. At the same time, the private sector which benefits from this, has to do the same. There's a local match. So the county will do X if you do,
right.
your part. And so everybody's got skin in the game, give or take 25% is the local match. And the result is going to be fantastic. And I give all the credit to, Dick and Steve for putting together just an absolutely outstanding proposal. Again, this is something we've been doing for a while. We put a brand name on it now. And I love the result that we'll ultimately see from this project. It's fantastic because the businesses that are benefit are well known and in the community, and I think it's a pretty exciting thing.
Yeah, well, and I just want to give props to Steve as well because he took the time to like for me, I know what I wanted it to look like, but I didn't put something like that together. And he sat down with me and he did it. He explained to me. He wrote up something to make sure that each contractor knew exactly what I was looking for. He made it easy for me to participate in it. And then I didn't read what he submitted, but based on our conversations, I think it was pretty well put together and detailed and explained out.
So, and yeah, and I'll describe that just a tiny bit more for you. When you're doing a state or federal grant program, I mean, every I's got to be dotted, every T's got to be crossed. Our programs, as I said, we've been doing this for a little while on a little bit more informal basis. We don't have those hoops to jump through because those hoops are government bureaucracy. Government bureaucracy costs everybody money, the government entity itself, and then, of course, the taxpayer. So it's a waste. Our programs get right to the point. But what was submitted on behalf of Beeville was to the point, but it was everything else you had to know as well. There were no questions when I got through reading the document that was, I'm trying to find my screen. There you are. It was, this big. And he covered all the bases, beautiful drawings, beautiful illustrations of what's intended, great rationale for its purpose, not only what you wanted to do, but what the benefits would be of doing so. So, again, just a superior job by the village in responding to our program. And I guess if we're giving credit, none of this happens. Nothing with money happens without the Onondaga County Legislature. So, the team on the ledge, and by that I mean everybody, not just Republicans and Democrats, everybody on the ledge recognizes the value of programs like this for everyone's benefit, including, and this is important, the county, because when we have a better Baldwinsville to live in, work in, do business in, Onondaga County, from an economic development standpoint, has a better Baldwinsville to sell as a place to live, work, and do business. And that's what matters, because the county is the lead economic development organization in the area. No matter what anybody says, that's the case. We have the resources. One thing that's kind of neat right now is that, everybody brings something different to the table on the legislature, in the county administration. Ryan happens to be a county, he's an economic developer at heart, right? He likes economic development. So that's his big area of personal interest. So he's very hands-on with these initiatives. And, if there's an opportunity with a business prospect, he's on a plane, he's going out there meeting with himself. He's not sending a representative or a salesperson. And none of this happens without the financial support of the Onondaga County Legislature. And each of us represent a different part of the community. And by and large, things like this, which really, truly matter at the end of the day, we're behind. And my colleagues are behind. And that's super important. We don't agree on everything all the time, hardly anything all the time, but especially these days. But when it matters, we do the right thing, try to. And I'm proud to be part of a group that does that.
No, and that's nice. And it makes your job more, probably not enjoyable at times, but rewarding.
Lost your audio. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? I can hear you. Well, no.
Lost your audio.
Okay. I think it's because of the storms that we're having outside. I'm going to disconnect Brian and I for a minute and then see if I can reconnect us. Okay.